Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Leaving the tavern at the end of the world in the early hours of the morning, the Order of the Heron and the People's Champion stagger their way back to the campsite beside the Sterling.
You're good people.
Oxnall the Minotaur yells.
Don't die.
And he shuts and locks the door. As you reach the campfire, the first glimpses of dawn, as much as there is a dawn in the ravaged lands of Roanoke, break through the thinning mist. With a thump, you all hit the ground by the campfire, and almost immediately fall asleep. Only Tock remains awake, staring at the Sterling and the other automatons, all still hard at work, fixing it back up to its former glory. On the horizon behind him, glittering momentarily in the morning sunlight, are what remains of the shattered and broken golden-spired minarets of the Citadel, former home to the Council of Rojam and the site of the library, which allegedly houses the Alochian benediction, the Callus Justicar. Everyone has told you that no one returns from that place once they enter. Surely that doesn't apply to you? After a surprising display of dazzling light, the thick mist returns, rolling in quickly, once again obscuring the view and casting the lands of Roanoke into shadow. Welcome one and all to Dice Company Small Embers Chapter 51, where a group of friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom, and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of the Order of the Heron and their marooned saloon-goers. Marooned saloon-goers, please introduce yourselves and tell us one fun fact about your characters.
Yeah, got him mid-slurp. Good work, DM.
Fuckers. Hi, I'm Alex and I'm playing Augustus. And I'm going to take you back to the brutal boarding school. Now, the main sport at this school was called wrestle hoop. In this game, teams of wrestlers wrestle each other with a hoop at each end of the field. And the idea is to wrestle your enemies through their own hoop. After a series of fatalities to better players, Augustus became team captain on an emergency basis. He took this seriously, making a rousing speech during a rain-soaked battle against their biggest rivals. Unfortunately, they lost by 5 hoops to -1.
-1?
The -1 club is back.
Okay, so fatalities. Is that because the hoop is tiny? And so to pass through the hoop involves breaking most of the bones in a player's body?
I just had it down as an extremely violent game.
Okay, because I was thinking Tock may have a talent for this game.
Yeah, I had a similar thought.
I don't think you're allowed to play against armoured killer robots.
Are you going to bring it to the masses? Is this going to be something you're going to spread the word of?
Wrestle hoop is going to sweep the nations.
Yeah, any game where you can get minuses is a good one.
Still no explanation of how that happened, of course.
I don't care. I hope, I'm just glad that someone ended on a minus, and hopefully someone died during the proceedings, and I'm all in.
Is there a sport where you can end up in minus points? I mean, I remember our Sunday league football team at uni. That definitely ended up in minus points. But,
Yeah, morally.
But apart from that travesty,
I can't think of a sport where you get minus points. There must be something.
Yeah. Technically, you can in HEMA and the fencing I do, but only if you do something a bit fucked up.
Okay, 1, humble brag. 2, I'm going to put that out to the listeners. If anyone can think of a sport where you can get minus points.
I mean, that felt like technically you can, and I have. It took the fire brigade 4 hours to get my sword out of my foot and out of the floor that it was fixing me to.
You think a sword fight starts with someone just hammering their sword through the other person's foot and spending the rest
through his
of the
own
fight?
foot. Sadly, my opponent was stuck in traffic.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I'm playing Bardol Schultz. Bardol's fun fact today is from his past, when he lived in New Bay as a young boy in Belvedere. Him and his friends would often look forward to the Mask of Many Faces festival that would take place every 3 years, especially because they used to enjoy watching the festival duels, which was the many-face duels, which had a strange quirk to them, where the fighters would wear elaborate costumes and argue and debate each other in strange characters throughout the fight, whilst obviously trying to kill each other furiously. And he was an enormous fan of it, and it was his highlight of every year. When he was forced from his home later in life and found himself eventually in the gnomish city of Slateholme, he found an opportunity to fight in a festival of duels. And using everything that he'd learnt from his heroes of his childhood, he pulled on all of his charisma and character, and so was born the persona of the People's Champion and the first win of his silver sword.
That was awesome.
Very cool.
I also can imagine like the other fighters being slightly shocked when not only is Bardol fighting, but he's also debating them using various different voices. I feel like that could throw me off my game. What is this guy doing?
Especially as he looks to be roughly half the size that he actually is as well. So like a punch looks like it misses, but it actually just cracks them in the face and they don't know why.
He's a tricky beast, yeah.
Hello, I'm Dave and I am playing Bennie Quez. Bennie has been pondering his family history recently as new information has come to light. And at this point, Bennie has concluded that he is sick of it all and is wondering if he even wants to know or find out any further or gain any certainty. And his dream of travelling to Lumatorn has fallen by the wayside, to the point that if Vander were to check the shelves in his cabin any time, he would notice that the maps of Lumatorn have been added to the shelves there, where once they were in Bennie's cabin.
Ooh.
Absolutely fundamentally opposed to finding out anything about his backstory.
Only for the moment. He's just in a bad mood.
I didn't get that from his poem. Hi, I'm Charlie and I play Vander Finnick. Vander can endure a great deal of hardship, but the lack of creme de menthe to dull the pain of his wounds and a diet of swamp slugs has taken a serious toll. But just like that, the suffering has eased again. A night in the tavern certainly helped, but something altogether more important has happened. Bennie has returned, and for reasons that Vander doesn't fully understand, he's begun healing again.
Oh.
There you go.
And now we go live to Bennie to see how he feels about that.
Well, I presume that Bennie hasn't actually noticed, because it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that Vander's going to bring up. And is not going to admit to any weakness.
Yeah, I didn't like spoon you when you were sleeping or anything like that. It's not a creepy kind of healing. It's just
a creepy kind of healing.
It sounds like a terrible song.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I play Tock, a 6'8" imposing automaton. So Alder and the veteran automatons that made their home in the forests of Concordia have left an impression on Tock. So his armour always felt like sort of a part of him, sort of never without it. Yet technically, it is removable with only minor loss of function. Tock acquired a cloak because in the human society, people wear clothes. But perhaps his armour was always a bit like clothes, covering a wooden body beneath. So does discarding their armour mean that the automatons simply rejected metal and armour, or the concept of clothes and the dichotomy of people and non-people itself?
Wowza.
Oh. Loved it.
That was awesome. I kind of want to see Tock without any of the metal. I just want him to be like just a wooden guy in a cloak.
Yeah,
we'll do a swimsuit calendar in a bit.
I thought you were going to be de-armoured and wearing chinos and a jumper with a polo underneath before the afternoon was out.
With a frappuccino.
It's going to see Tock lounging on a sunbed on top of the Sterling.
Hello, fellow humans.
I'm taking a gap year. Meow, 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 meow. A little bit of housekeeping. Discord for chatting, dicecompanypodcast.com for merchandise, Patreon for ad-free early release access to this podcast, along with every episode of Extra Roll and the Tales of Kael'thana. And please remember, a person does not belong to a place until there is someone dead under the ground. So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company. Previously on Dice Company. Stranded, shipwrecked, and forced to survive for weeks on slugs in the strange ruins of Roanoke, the Order of the Heron had a brief respite in the tavern at the end of the world, and engaged in some light attempted tooth robbery and some effective actual coat robbery. Drinking the night away with Figlani and Oxnor, most of them missed Bella leaving the tavern to reunite with her mentor under the sway of the Hushed One. You awaken the following morning by the extinguished campfire next to the Sterling. The automatons continue their relentless work to fix it, but they're not quite finished yet.
Vander sits up in the dawn light and looks around.
A most enjoyable evening.
His eye fixes on Bennie.
And how are you this morning, Bennie?
Bennie doesn't look especially well. He looks quite pale, bags under his eyes, and he just says, "Fine, thank you, Vander, but I might skip the slug breakfast if it's all the same to you."
Of course, Bennie. You look a little peaky, if you don't mind me saying.
The ale in that place were quite strong, weren't it? I don't think I were expecting it to be quite that strong.
Well, you seemed to be enjoying yourself last night all the same.
Vander looks round at the rest of the party and sees Augustus.
Are you awake, Augustus?
Yes, Vander, I yearn for a feather bed.
I have some rather disappointing news as far as that goes.
Thank you, Vander. I would ask you not to speak on
On the subject of breakfast, slug?
Augustus didn't drink as heavily as Bennie last night, but he feels still like he definitely can't tolerate a slug breakfast at this point. No thank you, Vander. Please do enjoy as many slugs as your teeth will permit.
You're quite sure? I've tried a new recipe. Saute.
Augustus just rolls away, so his back is to Vander in this whole scene. Moving like a slug, really.
Vander turns his head the full 90 degrees now.
Tock will be walking past the campfire. As you see him, he looks a bit different than yesterday. He seems to be like the black armor seems to have little like bits of green growing out of it.
And Tock.
Yes, Vander.
How are you this morning? I see the ship repairs are going well.
That is correct, Vander. Though we still lack a air elemental, the ship will not fly even when repaired.
Yes, a vexing problem. Which leads us rather nicely to another concern. Our next move.
You refer to the Citadel?
I believe we do have to enter the Citadel, but I confess I am somewhat concerned. A number of things on our little shopping list. Not least an air elemental, but also, of course, potentially one of the items we seek, which I believe may be located in the library.
You refer to the hammer, Vander?
I do. An item we hope will assist us in our little conflagration with the Empire.
How will it assist us, Vander? Says Augustus without turning back to look at the scene.
Well, I confess I know little of the hammer's properties, but from what I gather, we need such artifacts to take down the Emperor. He has a weakness to them.
Now, I confess I wasn't 100% keyed into the conversation last night, but I do recall quite clearly someone saying nobody's ever got into Citadel and come back out at Citadel.
There are plenty of things nobody's done, Bennie. It pleases me to be the first.
Incorrect, Vander. The first was Ulder and the automatons in Concordia.
And they returned? Forgive my memory.
They dwell in Concordia. They have not returned to this plane.
Well, I would regard success as being returning home.
Concordia is their home. But your point is taken, Vander.
So, how to approach this?
Vander looks round at the blank faces.
I agree, we just walk in as usual.
To be honest, Mustang, I'm way too hungover to formulate any plans in the morning. No, I don't know. I'm happy to go and fight and kill and... Oh God, I feel sick. Give me a moment, excuse me.
Of course, sautéed slug.
Vander offers a sautéed slug to you.
They're particularly fine.
Augustus sits up and says, "Gentlemen, even entering a cave from which no one has ever returned alive must be preferable to more slugs. If we cannot go on the airship, then perhaps we ought to venture in and see if we can recover this powerful artifact that could help us against the Empire.
Augustus, the slugs you have been hunting are not palatable?
No, Tock, they are not.
Tock reaches into his bag of holding and takes out his rations. So he's got 20 days worth of fine cured meats and other dried fruits, trail mix, that kind of stuff, like nuts and things. Lots of quite tasty food, and he'll happily share it with the group.
My God.
Augustus tries very hard not to leap on this food in a Lord of the Fliesy way, and calmly accepts the ration and reminds himself that Tock doesn't know any better.
Bardol, wiping sick on the sleeve of his brand new and beautiful coat, also takes some rations from Tock.
Well, I think Augustus, for one, his spirits are soaring now, because when you've been hungry for a long time, proper food changes everything. So Augustus is now full of beans. Gentlemen, I wish to go south and follow the latest sighting of my sister, though there are so many sightings now I hardly know which way to turn. But I fear we're stuck here for some time first, and I would rather put that time to use than sit around this campfire awaiting anyone else to produce rations.
I agree. Let us go to the Citadel and find this weapon of yours.
Bennie glances around and says, talking of anybody else, where's Bella?
Where is Bella?
Bella has chosen to take her own path. We spoke late last night. I believe we will see her again, though, in the fullness of time.
She remained in the tavern?
No, she slipped out whilst we were engaged in other matters.
You could have mentioned it, Vander, and...
To you, Bennie, last night.
Vander says with some interest.
Yeah. No, I take your point. Okay. Does this mean I get my room back?
Quite.
Did she take the chinchilla with her?
That is a rather devastating question.
Vander looks about him.
I do believe she said she put him in a box and left him in Tock's workshop.
That is correct. There is a box in my workshop. Contents unknown.
Contents chinchilla, Tock.
After 2 weeks, we have no idea.
It could be contents dead chinchilla after 2 weeks.
Schrodinger's chinchilla.
Sigmund's chinchilla.
I reckon Bella were looking after it. Pass me some of them rations. And Bennie picks up a few bits and bobs and goes over to the Sterling to make sure that the chinchilla has rations for a few days for while they're travelling. He's going to assume the chinchilla is smart enough to not eat everything all in one go and leave itself starving for 3 days, because Bennie doesn't know a huge amount about animals.
He has a dog.
You're going to try and explain rationing to the chinchilla?
It is a human.
Well, I haven't
got
got an automatic chinchilla feeder on a timer. But what must one be?
Can we go with Bennie just to make sure that he's okay in case Steven Sakura goes ape shit?
You all head into the Sterling, which is looking much better, much closer to how it looked before the crash. The automatons have been doing magnificent work. And as you head downstairs towards Tock's workshop, Tock, you say the word, the door opens, and inside is a box with a lump of metal on top of it with holes that have been punctured into it.
Is there anything oozing out of those holes?
There is not.
Tock will open the box, lifting the top off.
And discovering the truth of Schrodinger's chinchilla, there is a small chinchilla inside who is currently curled up, and he looks up, his big, bulbous, lamp-like eyes look in your direction, and he squeaks.
He seems fine after all. Hello, chinchilla.
He shakes his head.
He seems much happier in this form, does he not?
Bennie gets down on his haunches and holds open a palm full of food for the chinchilla to snack on.
Nice. Give me an animal handling check.
That did not cross my mind that might happen.
Not going to make it to the Citadel.
It's going to be a chinchilla-centric episode.
7.
You put your hand down, and the chinchilla bites at the food and bites into your finger, drawing blood.
Fingers and sausages are very similar.
I am going to assume that was an accident. Nice chinchilla. Nice chinchilla.
His name is Stephen.
And he chows down on the food that you've given him, that you've dropped as you pulled your hand away in pain.
So what are we going to do with him?
I suggest we place the lid back on and leave Stephen to ponder his next move.
Well, how long do we reckon we're going to be in Citadel?
Well, we don't know we'll survive, but assuming we do, we'll be back in time to help Mr. Sakura, I'm sure.
Should we at least alert the automatons to perhaps keep an eye on the young man?
That will be done, Bardol.
Bennie looks startled, but Bardol seems to have had a good idea that Bennie agrees with and likes, and he's just kind of like looks at him sideways and he's like, yeah, that is a good idea. Thanks, Bardol.
My pleasure.
Right then, gentlemen. One little challenge down, but I suggest we turn our minds to the rather more serious task in hand.
Vander can be seen loading shells into his flintlock while talking.
Shall we off?
I would find that to be acceptable.
Let's go.
Finally, some action.
And you depart the Sterling for the Citadel. Following the path back to the tavern at the end of the world, which remains shuttered, you continue on to the east. The earth remains cracked and uneven, yet in under an hour you begin to see through the thinning mist the once great Citadel of Roanoke. This used to be a mighty fortress, its tall golden minarets shattered, its towering walls weathered and broken. Everything is adorned with dull-coloured creeping vines, and jagged cracks cross its facade. Beyond the walls, you find yourself at the edge of the devastation, and scattered in what was once a courtyard are pockets of adventuring parties. Keeping their distances from one another, you spy some familiar faces from the night before, as clerics, archivists, treasure hunters and adventurers are preparing to enter what remains of the Citadel.
I'm interested in the groups sitting around. What do they look like? And I'm thinking more in terms of skill level. Vander would be trying to assess whether our chances are better than, say, theirs.
You would probably pitch them all as at least on a par with you all, perhaps a little bit better.
Is there a guy with no teeth there?
There is no guy with no teeth.
Do they share our blind confidence?
They actually have more confidence than you guys.
Because they can see.
Oh well, back to the Chinchilla.
They're preparing standard adventuring gear. You know, they've got their packs, they've got their hempen rope, pickaxes, lanterns, rations, all the classic stuff that adventurers need before heading in.
You're mocking me because I lost my hempen rope.
I'm not mocking anyone, I'm just explaining
You
what
know
they
that
are
hurts.
like.
I'm still upset about that.
I've tried really hard to keep that rope for you, even kindly untying it while you were abseiling down it.
As Vander passes them, he turns to the group.
Don't worry, gentlemen. We won't need long-lasting supplies. We don't intend for this to take very long.
He says loudly enough for someone to hear.
A couple of heads turn as the people look at you, and they seem to be doing the same as you, Vander. They're assessing their own ability against your visible ability, and they all seem fairly confident.
Are you saying that Vander doesn't cut an imposing image?
I'm saying as a group, maybe you don't look like you're that well, but I mean, Tock looks pretty good.
I think Vander's next move is going to be to try and jump the queue.
I was going to say, is there a queue? We can just roll, right?
There's a little ticket booth and a guy taking change.
The guy to measure your height to
Yeah.
make sure that you're tall enough to ride. They're quite scattered. They're in groups of 3 or 4 standard adventuring numbers, but they are scattered out like all over, because this is a massive structure. This is not a small building, Vander, as you all know. This is it's almost borders on city size. It's a huge kind of broken, devastated place, but it takes you time to walk towards the ruins in order to get in and down.
Got it. The size of the place has changed Vander's tone to something more somber. Vander's becoming aware of the seriousness of the undertaking. As he picks his way over the rubble with his cane, he turns back to the group.
No sense in turning back now, I think.
No.
Indeed, humans may last for up to 2 months without food. That would be sufficient time.
Why, thank you, Tock.
Do we know what the best way in is?
We could ask one of these folks sitting around. They might have an idea.
Vander, did you not spend time at the Citadel as a Rojan?
Little time, I'm afraid, Tock. I was not a full Rojan, you may remember. In my youth, of course, I spent most of my time at war, not talking about it.
Did Oxnard tell Bardol anything about what way people tend to go in, or in any way how to get to the library or anything like that?
Well, and likewise, I think Augustus would have been here in his youth, and so depending how, completely wrecked it is, he might sort of recognise the way to the library.
Augustus, you recognise portions of the structure, but it's so heavily damaged from here, it's very difficult to kind of get your bearings. Bardol, your conversation with Oxnor, he gave you instructions on a particular kind of chute entranceway down that takes you down to the next level, and he instructed you that if you were to follow this simple pathway, then you can get to the kind of the jumping off point beyond which is the library. But because no one's been that far down and come back...
Well, can I relay that to the chaps? Is there also anywhere around that looks like people are possibly trading things or selling things? Is there perhaps like a nomadic store anywhere around that might be offering stuff?
Give me a perception check.
So, wow, that is a natural 20 for 25.
As it happens, you see a halfling who is currently pulling an enormous oxen behind him, and on the oxen are various wares that are hanging off the side of it, and he appears to be going around from group to group in order to trade and barter with them.
Chaps, just thinking on the way in. Is it worth chatting to that man over there who seems to be selling his wares in case we might need healing potions or potions of some kind? Anything? What do you think?
An insightful plan, Bardol.
Well, let's go.
You probably noticed Tock's armour hasn't been clanking. He's walking quite quietly.
Desperate for me to pull on that thread, aren't you?
No, have to leave that there.
Yeah, so Bardol will approach the halfling pulling the oxen.
Hello there!
Good morning, young man. Don't suppose you happen to have any healing potions knocking around here?
Oh, let me have a look. And he rifles through. Yeah, I've got about half a dozen here. How many are you after?
How much are they each?
50 gold apiece.
Oh, yes, I'll take them all, thank you.
All of them?
Yes, indeed.
All 6?
Yeah, I'll give him 300 gold.
Oh, you some kind of adventurer?
I am the great Bardol Schultz, my man, but of course you already knew that.
Did I? Interesting.
You certainly do now.
Pleasure to meet you, Bardol Schultz.
Pleasure's all mine. And your name, young man?
My name is Lothy.
Lothy, a pleasure. Come here often?
Well, this is a good place for business, you know, being a trader. There's always people here with money and the need for certain adventuring items, and I provide them all.
Do you have anything else of any great interest before I embark with my amigos into the Citadel and take all that it has of any great value before returning successful and gloriful?
He looks at your weapons and armour and then kind of peels back a big piece of leather and looks at a kind of selection of not quite as good armour and weapons. No, I don't think I've got anything in particular, but you're going into the Citadel, are you?
Indeed.
Interesting. Well, what do you think your chances are of surviving?
Almost a dead cert, oh geez, look at me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. If you were to come across any ancient tomes or artifacts, then I would certainly be interested in buying them from you.
Indeed. Well, you are understood. I'll keep an eye out. Be sure to return. Hope you have plenty of money. Booty is something Bardol Schultz finds very easily.
That's good to hear. And don't worry, I have plenty of resources available to me.
Excellent. Well, until my return, and a happy day.
Happy day to you too, Bardol.
A wise purchase, Bardol. Tell me, shopkeep, I am always interested in picking up oddities. I was wondering, what strange artifacts may you have?
Oh, I've got lots of strange artifacts. Roll me a D100.
Yes, side quest. I'm in 77.
Well, allow me to show you the most wondrous item I have. And he reaches down underneath the oxen and he pulls out a wooden box that measures 12 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches. And as he holds it in his hand, it appears to float out of his palm momentarily.
That is quite the box,
Vander says with interest.
And the thing is, it's more than just a box, you see. There are 3 words so that when you say them, it changes itself. So what he's holding, just so you're aware, is something called a folding boat.
Wow, nice.
So one command word causes the box to unfold into a boat that is 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. It has 1 pair of oars, an anchor, a mast, and a lateen sail.
Amazing.
And it can hold up to 4 medium creatures comfortably.
Okay.
The second command word causes the box to unfold into a ship 24 feet long, 8 feet wide, 6 feet deep, The ship has a deck, rowing seats, 5 sets of oars, a steering oar, an anchor, a deck cabin, a mast, and a square sail. This ship can hold 15 medium creatures comfortably. When the box becomes a vessel, its weight becomes that of a normal vessel its size, and anything that was stored in the box remains in the boat. The third command word causes the folding boat to fold back into a box, providing that no creatures are aboard. Any objects in the vessel that can't fit inside the box remain outside as it folds.
Vander looks at it with his one eye watering.
Did I mention that I am an admiral?
Oh, it looks like it would suit you down to the ground then.
Most certainly.
Are you Mustang?
Yes, I am, Bardol, as well you know.
Fascinating.
500 gold pieces.
Vander starts to biddy.
I'm sorry, you seem to misunderstand the value of this item. This is 2,500 gold coins.
I see. No discounts for members of the fleet, then?
I'm afraid not. My business relies on me being able to make a fair value for all of the items that I sell.
Well, I am a fair man, which is why I will offer you 2,000 gold pieces.
Can Tock assist Vander by trying to calculate how far we are in landlocked Roanoke from the sea?
I'm going to say yes. Give me a persuasion check at advantage, please, Vander. With Tock going into a long description about...
I believe we're at least 1,000 miles and possibly not even any big rivers nearby.
You might be the furthest away from a large body of water that it's possible to be on the continent.
Taking Tock's lead, Vander gestures all about himself and goes on said in-passage speech, rolling an 18 to assist him in doing so.
I'm afraid the price is 2,500. This is non-negotiable.
Well, you drive a hard bargain, but an admiral never passes up the impossibility of adding a ship to the fleet.
And Vander puts 2,500 gold on the table.
Nice.
Our first big purchase. Vander, fantastic. Please add a folding boat to your inventory.
Yes! Didn't know I wanted one of those, but I've just splashed out on it. Amazing.
The mystery box could indeed be a boat.
Literally.
One more thing, shopkeeper, if you don't mind.
Of course.
I'll need a hat.
He again goes to his oxen, rifles through, and he pulls out an old, dusty, beaten up, brown wizard's hat.
Wizard Vander? Unmissably awesome.
Yes, of course. Yes, I think that will do nicely. I assume this is a gift to someone who has done such profitable business with you.
Give me a persuasion check.
I'm going to try and get it at advantage by saying,
and of course I accept your offer re any tomes we find. A fair bargain.
Yeah, go on then.
Vander is far cheekier than Bardol. I love it.
21.
Loffy throws the hat in your direction. Yeah, go on then.
And Vander puts the wizard hat on, turning to the rest of the group.
Just an aside, gentlemen, but now I command 3 ships. I am technically the admiral of an armada.
I'm sorry, Mustang. Command 3 ships?
Yes, 3 ships. An important detail. Not something we need discuss now. I believe we have adventuring to do.
Indeed. Pin in that one for later, perhaps.
A pin has indeed been stuck, Bardol.
After you, dear boy.
So great stuff, Vander. I was a bit worried about going into the Citadel, but now we got a pop-up boat and a new hat, so I'm feeling really reassured.
Indeed. Did we not want to purchase food, firewood, things to burn?
I thought you were a veritable purveyor of food, Tock.
Indeed, Vander, but my supplies are limited.
Well, I'm sure the armada will come in useful all the same.
And Vander tips his hat.
Bardol inquires with the shopkeeper whether he has any food or rations available. Does not want to get back in another slug situation. Has learned, and any fresh water as well that he might also have for sale would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, of course. And he provides you with 5 days rations and a water skin for each of the people that wish to have it.
Does anybody need healing potions? I've now got 7 of them, so does anyone not have one, need one, want one?
Yes,
on the
please.
basis that Bennie can post them to people with a bonus action, I think it's a good idea for him to have them, or at least some of them.
So I'll give 3 to Bennie,
Could I grab one?
1 to Vander.
Yeah, I'll definitely take one if that's okay.
One to Augustus.
Vander going to knock you back right now?
No, I'm in your benevolent presence, Benny. I'm feeling okay right now.
So yeah,
Thanks for asking.
three Benny, one Vander, one Augustus. So that leaves me with 2. Tock, do you need them?
Do
they work
happier
for you?
with Benny. Yeah, they do, but I'm happier with Benny holding them than Tock holding them.
I shall see you when we return victorious. Don't go far. Tomes are coming.
Excellent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Having finished your business, you surpass the other adventuring parties and move deeper within the husk of the Citadel. Finally, any sign of the other adventurers has gone. Following the instructions Oxnor gave to Bardol, you traverse the uneven terrain until finally, thankfully, you find a standalone doorway. Formerly part of the inner structure of the Citadel, overgrown yet dead vegetation covering the entrance, you pull it aside and see a set of darkened steps leading beneath the surface.
This is it, gentlemen. Here we go.
Stepping in and down, the temperature immediately cools and the darkness envelops you. What are you guys doing for light?
Yeah, I guess I will pull one of my torches out of my pack and light with my tinderbox, being I am a human.
Yeah, as we go down into the dark, I'm going to pull out my hooded lantern and light that.
Tock is going to draw his sword, which is going to glow brightly, just as much as a lantern.
Augustus could do that, but he's going to produce the drift globe.
Bardol throws his torch on the floor, leaves it behind.
Following the steps down, illuminated by the drift globe, Tock's sword and Benny's hooded lantern, you leave Bardol's torch behind. The stairway delves deep below the surface as the temperature continues to plummet. The original staircase is overlapped by other collapsed structures the further down you go, creating something of a path of destroyed architecture. As you descend, there are small areas where the previous magnificence of the Citadel can be seen, although anything of value, including marble, precious metals and the like, have been ruthlessly stripped away, treasure hunters having carefully taken everything. Further travel leads you to a stone staircase at the top of a large room, maybe 80 feet in height, with you at the top. The staircase is made of cold stone, but is broken ahead of you. There is a 10-foot gap that needs to be traversed in order to continue.
I mean, do we want to just jump down that hole to the next level? I do have Featherfall.
In the interim period, Benny has re-summoned Missy after her sad demise, and so she is now available. So I might send her down into the abyss to see what's going on.
I'll send the drift globe too to try and help Missy see what's down there.
Vander turns to Bellerophon on his shoulder.
You've been rather outdone there.
As Vander is looking over the edge, muttering to Bellerophon, Missy swoops past and down into the darkness. The level below is a devastated area. There don't appear to be any enemies or any dangers down there. It is just simply a long drop down if you weren't to make the jump from one side of the broken stairway to the other.
So I report back on this to everyone when they return. So it seems like we want to get across rather than go down.
Fair enough.
So what I might do is, again, use Missy, pulling my trusty rope from my backpack.
Benny and his fucking rope.
Rope-a-dope.
I hold one end and look for a place to kind of tie it to, and then send Missy across the gap to see if she can affix it to anything on the other side.
Okay, give me an athletics or acrobatics check.
Ooh, that is 23 for acrobatics.
Very nice. With Missy's help, you swing the hempen rope around across to the other side where it hooks onto a jagged piece of rock.
So, checking the strength of the rope, Tock decides to climb into the bag of holding.
Damn it! Damn it! Oh, you're too fucking smart for your own good.
And I turn to Augustus and say, if you untie this rope while I'm halfway across, we will be having words. Well, actually, we probably won't.
Augustus smiles to himself.
Augustus knows exactly how to push Benny's buttons, doesn't he?
Augustus wonders again why poor people whine so much.
Tock wonders where the human's buttons are.
Augustus brushes a piece of dust off the fine button of his jacket.
I would be happy to go first, gentlemen, as I have a way of surviving falls.
Vander, do you refer to the Featherfall pendant that I gifted you?
I do not talk, but I am still very grateful for the gift.
Mine was stolen by a moon-faced assassin.
It was indeed, Augustus. We all mourn its passing.
And Vander, I guess it's going to be an athletics check, tries to shimmy across the 10-foot gap.
Because of the incredible success of Benny's rope throw with Missy's help, you can have it at advantage. All of you can.
It's a 12 for Vander. I did not like the look on the DM's face.
20 for Augustus.
I'm assuming Benny's carrying Tock, by the way.
Yeah. 20 also for Benny.
It is a 26 for Bardol. It's quite the improvement.
Leaps like a salmon, doesn't even need the rope.
With Vander leading the way, his frail hands kind of grip around the rope as he's kind of shuffling across. And there are a couple of times where it looks like he's about to slip and fall, but he's just able to make it across to the other side without incident. And the rest of you all follow with incredible ease, including Bardol, who basically just runs across the rope.
I do like a jaunt through funny dungeons. How entertaining this is. How thrilling it is to be off the ship and out of the mist and gallivanting.
Indeed, most excellent poise, Bardol. May I suggest we place fighters at the front and commanders at the back from now on?
Happy to do it, Mustang.
You guys, having got safely to the other side, head down the stairs 80 feet until you reach the next floor down. You are now in a safe, flat area with a high ceiling above you.
Oh my. It's hump time. Augustus, while everyone has a wee break, Augustus finds a steed. And she's back. It's Jenny, the war camel. The crowd goes wild.
I don't know what sound they make. I assume it's that.
At the sound of Jenny, Bardol turns around startled. What on earth is this?
He gets a slobbery lick to the face for his troubles. Jenny likes the look and the taste of Bardol.
Rough, but yet affectionate. I like it. Nice to meet you, camel.
Jenny gives a mad smile.
Beautiful. I'm Bardol Schultz, but of course you knew that. It's nice to have you here.
There's very little sign in Jenny's eyes that she recognises Bardol, but still, she likes the nice guy.
We have a cavalry division.
Exactly, we'll be able to flank our enemies now.
With Bellerophon, Missy, and Jenny. Is Tick with you, by the way?
He's in the bag of holding, with Tock as well. Tock will climb out now.
Any chance we can portal in my squire, just so I feel like I'm not just alone? Like the ninth wheel at the party.
Sadly not. But the 10 of you prepare to continue into the Citadel.
Tock snaps his fingers to summon Lenny the dog. No, I'm kidding.
Having summoned Jenny, Missy, Bellerophon, and with Tick in the bag of holding, the 15 of you, or however many it is now, move onwards, closely following Oxnor's detailed instructions. You move down a steep hill as around the sounds of drips echo through the cavern. Any reference to architecture has vanished as you enter an area that was a cave during the period of the Citadel. There are no furnishings or signs of civilization here. At the bottom of the long slope, you reach an enclosed small cave space with a rock face ahead. There is a brilliant blue pool of water at its base. To continue on and reach the library, you will have to swim under the rock face through the pool to the chamber beyond.
Can we try and estimate, like, where are we under the city? I assume we've passed under what remains of the walls. We're in the Citadel proper.
Absolutely. Tock, you estimate that even with the lack of architecture, you must now be beneath the central minaret of the Citadel.
Looks like we're going to have to get a little bit wet here, chaps. Tock, how are you? Do you sink, float, swim?
I can adjust my buoyancy level, though I sink naturally.
Magnificent. Well, yes, under here, under the jutty out rock, and then we'll find a slope which should lead us to the good stuff. So, let's all hold our breaths, eh?
Should we try and be patient and see if there's any creatures under there, or just dive in, throw caution to the wind?
Well, first things first, I'm putting my dog away. So I say, Tock, stop messing about, and send Lenny back to his plane of existence.
And Augustus, I guess, tries to communicate to Jenny that she's got to swim under this thing. I've got no idea if camels can swim, less still whether they can swim underwater.
Yeah, watch the instant death of Jenny.
Oh, no.
Augustus is going to face his fear here. He is going to swim in front, communicate to Jenny, because they can communicate telepathically, that she needs to be brave here, hold her breath, and he's going to duck his head under and swim through and lead her by the, I don't know if she's got reins, but by the reins, and attempt to go under and lead Jenny under as well.
Just as he's doing that, Tock is going to try and find the deepest part of the pool and chuck a pebble that's like a glowing crystal pebble into it to see if anything's attracted to it. Any like monsters or anything that'll attack us whilst we're underwater. But he's not going to stop Augustus from just ploughing head first as well.
You toss the stone in as Augustus is giving a pep talk to Jenny. The stone kind of sinks down and there does not appear to be any creatures down there ready to strike.
Apparently certain types of camel can't swim.
Augustus leaps into the water in a rather elegant dive, followed quickly by Jenny, who leaps in and, with surprising aptitude, just goes under the water and begins to follow him as he swims underneath. Augustus, can I have an athletics check, please?
Any advantage for the camel who's with me?
I shouldn't think so.
Emotional support?
If anything, I think a camel swimming behind you should put you at disadvantage, but...
Well, if I fail, she'll push me along.
This article does say no recorded instances of camels diving exist.
How are you finding this?
I guess if it happens in an underground cave, it might not be recorded.
Yeah.
17.
Nice. And with relative speed, you go underneath the jagged rock sticking out and appear on the other side, quickly followed by Jenny.
We both do that thing where we shake the water off our fur.
Says Jenny.
Yeah, I'm happy to dive in straight after Augustus.
So can I have an athletics check, please?
A 19 from Bardol.
Nice. Swimming like a salmon, you make your way through and up onto the other side.
So I look a bit sheepish and I say, slight problem here. I can't swim. I've never swum. I don't know how to do it.
I see. Tock, might you take Bennie and I by the hand? And as you walk through, so we will be pulled.
I would find that to be acceptable. So Tock will take them by the hand and drag them underwater whilst he walks along the bottom.
Vander looks unusually comfortable with that.
Bennie does not. Bennie looks quite panicky. He's like, what do I do? How do I breathe? What do I do? Like, what, how?
Bennie, you cannot breathe underwater.
How do I stop myself? Do you not, isn't it a reflex? Don't you?
Unknown.
What do you mean unknown? We're about to do it.
Think of it as training, Bennie. Shall we off?
But, I don't know. Maybe it'd be good if Tock just grabbed us and dragged us without Bennie getting to choose.
Well, he is. So, yeah.
Well, good news. He's already said he's doing that. So.
Didn't you say the pool was 20 feet deep? If he gets dragged by Tock, he's going a lot deeper than he needs to.
Yes, much deeper.
As we go under, Vander goes,
Well...
Although, as Tock doesn't need to breathe to speak, as he drags you under the water, he's going to give you recount the tale of when he went down to the abyssal plain and talk about all the large and weird fish and creatures he saw down there.
okay, Vander does look a little bit under strain. I take that back.
About halfway through, Bennie tries to tell Tock to shut up.
I tell you what, both Bennie and Vander give me a Constitution saving throw.
That's a 19 for Vander. Now 20.
There's a 15 for Bennie.
Tock emerges a little while later, it's not a quick turnaround, just emerges out of the water, walking up, and in one hand he has Vander being dragged by an arm, and in the other he's got Bennie
being dragged by an ankle.
The moment they appear, there's huge deep breaths from Vander and Bennie.
And on the abyssal plane, creatures generate their own light. Many predators use it to lure prey. This is why I dropped the crystal in the water, Vander.
Yes, how very informative, Tock.
As Vander straightens and adjusts his wizard's hat.
And by way of response, Bennie just coughs up a whole load of water they'd accidentally swallowed along the way. Looks very sorry for himself.
Bennie, you cannot breathe water. Do not attempt to breathe water.
Don't breathe water, Bennie. Don't attempt to breathe water.
With you all on the other side, you see, as Oxnor explained, a large slope of damaged and broken stone. It's relatively steep and leads down into further darkness. You guys have now been travelling for an hour and a half, and you've noticed that the pressure of the cold air down here is oppressive. You've passed countless caves and chambers devoid of light, or anything which symbolises the civilization that used to be here. However, if Oxnor's instructions continue to be correct, then you know that ahead of you is the entrance to the library itself.
Oh, yes, this is it, gentlemen. As my old friend Oxnor was saying, the poop chute of doom. Here we go. Straight down the rubbly surface into the mouth of hell itself.
Are you sure that's how he put it, Bardol?
Something like that. I think there was a snorting in there somewhere, to be honest.
Ah, yes, that's maybe what I detected as a miss.
Bardol, query. Adventurers have not returned from the library. We have not observed corpses of humans or other creatures.
Indeed, Tock, but perhaps those may have fallen within the library itself. We may find them ahead, or perhaps even they just went through the tear and are now swimming around one of the hells, or Feywild, or one of the other shadow planes, or mirror planes, or whatever they are. So, fear not, though. We're pretty handy. In a scrap, I'm sure we'll be able to get through anything that's going on down there, fingers crossed, but certainly sure I'll live. No, I jest. We'll be fine, honestly. Good teamwork and keep your head on the swivel and we should be fine. I'll go first, should I? And Bardol will make his way down the ramp. Just absent-mindedly casting light for the first time and just flicking some orbs of light out in front of him just to follow him down the ramp.
Beautiful, beautiful. Can I have your marching order, please?
Well, Tock will follow Bardol.
Vander's going to take the back spot and cast Mage Armor.
With a spell slot or using your little staff?
Using my little staff.
Oh my god, is he actually learning the rules, everyone?
No.
Just reminded me how to staff.
Bennie's going to be at the back alongside Vander.
Augie in the middle.
As you make your way down, Vander, your passive perception tells you that the slope that you're on is actually kind of lifted up from the ground beneath you. You're not on the kind of the dirt. This is an elevated position. And actually, it feels a little bit uneven to your feet, that it might collapse if you are not careful.
Can I get a quick estimate of what it would take for us to get to the bottom of the slope?
You are only around 60 feet away, so a dash would take you down there.
Gentlemen, this slope is unstable. Make haste.
And Vander begins to lurch forward, trying to get down the slope as quickly as possible.
Quickly. So Bardol will quicken his pace to try and get down, lead everyone down quicker.
Tock will follow suit.
And you make it down as behind you, you hear the kind of crumbling and crash as the slope breaks slightly. Can someone roll me a D100, please? Just one person.
Can do that. 81.
The damage actually is not that bad, and there is still a path for you to get back up and out. However, you have now entered into a long, dark corridor. As you make your way into the beginning of the library, from the end of the corridor around to the right, the corridor at the end goes down, and to the right, you hear a low grumbling roar and a shuffling sound.
Vander lowers his voice.
Bennie, will you send Missy forward? Otherwise I'll send Bellerophon.
Yep, I'll send Missy. One sec. Go on, Missy. Fly. I send her forward to look around the corner.
Bardol draws his thoughts. Want that on record.
Noted.
Tock will get Tick to climb out of the bag.
So while you're doing that, Missy flies down to the end of the corridor and looks to the right. To the right is a tall, maybe 8 foot tall creature, slightly hunched, with white, yellowing fur, dragging its knuckles on the floor. It has not noticed Missy's appearance.
Well, Missy is going to do a quick 180 and come back to the group. And I will relay what she spotted. Did it look friendly?
Perhaps we should go and introduce ourselves and find out.
It looked neither friendly or unfriendly. It looked like a beast just roaming a corridor.
An opportunity for a stealth attack, gentlemen, I think. Shall we proceed, but quietly?
Oh yeah, Bardol begins to creep down the corridor. Can I also do a perception check as I go down for anything that looks trappish? I've had experience recently that I don't wish to repeat.
You could give me a perception or investigation check for sure.
Tock will move out the way to let Bardol have a look.
There's an 11.
There doesn't seem to be any obvious traps to your eyes.
Okay, then I continue to stealthily creep down the corridor.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
At disadvantage, so 17, unbelievably.
Ooh, very nice. So surprisingly quietly, considering you're wearing all sorts of metal all over you, you creep along the corridor, not disturbing the creature ahead of you. As an experienced adventurer, you recognize this creature as an abominable yeti.
Are they an aberration by any chance?
That fucking sword of yours.
Abominable.
They are huge monstrosities.
Friendly monstrosities?
Sounds like terrible PR.
I'm going to help you out here, Benny. This is a dungeon. There is going to be very little in here that is friendly.
Fine.
It's basically a big sheep.
Has the rest of the band followed up behind me, or I'm out there on my own at the moment?
Vander's shuffled in your direction, but he's not made it to the corner.
Could you make some kind of hand gesture?
Yeah, Augustus and Jenny here.
I was going to say Tock was going to follow your instructions. So if you
Well, I figured we were sneaking up after the intel from Missy.
if Bardol's gesturing for us to follow, then Tock will follow.
Yeah, Bardol kind of waves his hand to give the impression that the guy should follow. There's a rather large and angry-looking yeti around the corner. I think if we strike now, we can get him unawares.
Okay, Tock and Tick will prepare their airlock.
And Bardol charges the back of the yeti, draw swords drawn.
Roll for initiative.
So 9 for Vander.
13 for Tock.
16 for Augustus.
12 for Benny.
A 7 for Bardol. A 7.
It's always the way, isn't it? Whoever takes the initiative loses initiative.
God damn it, yeah.
Alrighty, Roo. We are at the top of the round. You guys will get one full round of surprise attacks. So top of the round with Augustus.
Augustus will bowl around the corner at top speed, swerving to the right on Jenny's weirdly soft hoof shoes.
Hoof shoes.
Hoof shoes. She's wearing hoof shoes.
Hoofies.
I get the feeling camel hooves would be quite soft. It wouldn't clip-clop like horse hooves, I don't think. So she's going to bowl round with surprising stealth. And Augustus, of course, yells, Denethlia! Augustus is going to, jab with the greatsword at the creature. So that is a 25 with the greatsword.
Is a hit. Roll for damage.
And that is 12 slashing damage. I have 2 attacks. It's 23 with the greatsword.
Is a hit. Roll for damage.
7 slashing damage.
Beautiful. So a second strike comes down, and the white fur has turned a kind of murky, bloody colour. Gross.
11 for Jenny on a bite attack.
It's +5 for the bite attack.
So 16 for Jenny.
Is a hit.
Way!
Yes.
Jenny has actually hit. Please roll 1d4.
2.
For Chomper's damage.
Might that come with some psychological damage? I know I would be damaged if a camel charged around a dark corner and suddenly sunk its teeth into me.
Bardol, having charged in, you're overtaken by Augustus riding Jenny, carrying his great sword, which he kind of stabs like a lance into the abominable yeti's back, before Jenny then just opens her mouth and just begins gumming and kind of biting at its furry back. And you actually see some blood appearing where she's gumming the area. It's quite horrific to look at, actually.
Bravo, Augustus. And Jenny, yes. Chompers of steel, I see. Beastly.
Tock.
Okay, Tock and Tick will round the corner and will fire their airlocks.
Custom weapons.
Tock gets a natural 20
It's a hit. Boom. Natural 20. Very nice.
for 13 damage.
Lovely.
And the second shot, 13.
Is a miss.
doing no damage. Tick carefully aims and gets a 14.
Also a miss.
But manages to avoid hitting Augustus and Bardol, which is the main thing. Then they're going to advance up behind the other two to provide support.
Barrage of shots. Only one of them actually hitting into the abominable Yeti. The rest of you hear one set of clunking feet as two automatons join you. Benny.
So Benny is going to come up and poke his head around the corner and see this abominable Yeti, slightly startled, with people lined up in front. Have I got a shot here?
You can, but the Yeti would have improved defense. It would count as partial cover.
Well, I trust my marksmanship, so not too concerned about Augustus and Bardol standing at the front. I knock back an arrow and take aim. And that is a 25 to hit.
It is very much a hit. Please roll for damage.
6 piercing, plus a dexterity save to avoid being pinned. That's an extra 10.
Oof. So Benny knocks an arrow and is able to weave it between his compatriots without hitting them, and it stabs itself into the arm of the Yeti. It looks for a moment like it's going to drag his arm down to the ground and pin him in place, but he shakes, freeing himself.
And as I'm standing at a corner, it seems foolish, reckless even, not to duck back around the corner out of sight of the Yeti and flatten myself against the wall while reloading.
Vander!
Vander strides around the corner, wizard hat on at a serious angle, and takes in the scene. He realises that he doesn't have a direct shot on the Yeti, but sees what Augustus is doing, so casts Mind Spike. I'm going to aim for the sensory areas of the brain. My aim is to instill a heightened fear of camels. That's 25.
Is a hit.
Woohoo!
Roll 2d10, sorry.
That is a combined score of 11 psychological damage.
The creature's massive paws raise up from the ground as it holds its head as Vander's psychological attack against this poor monstrosity.
I'm hoping that will help Jenny's chances.
Yeah, we might allow that. Because she's so shit at actually doing damage.
Going to turn that 4 into a 5 damage.
Bardol!
Yay! Well, Bardol is just going to roar and be happy and just start swinging his swords in his usual come hither way to the Yeti. And so, yeah, day song twice for 17.
Is a hit.
For 7 slashing damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 26.
Obviously a hit.
Obviously a hit. So another 7 slashing damage.
Good lord.
And then longsword 26 for 11 slashing damage.
The rest of you see a flurry of strikes from Bardol as he wields both his swords, hacking into the increasingly bloodied creature, who's still holding its head from Vander's attack, and looks quite battered considering it hasn't even turned around yet. I mean, maybe it'll get set around. I'm not 100% sure at this point. Augustus, back to the top of the round. We are now into the first full round of combat, unbelievably.
All right, well, I'm just going to keep hacking away with the greatsword.
Hack away, dear boy.
22.
Hit.
12 slashing damage.
Woof.
Oh, natural 1 for 8.
Oh, the second attack misses after such a powerful hit with the first. The creature is slowly turning and actually ducks out of the way of your attack this time.
And an 8 for Jenny.
If you would like to roll a second one, I will give it to you at advantage because of Vander's ridiculous mind spike.
That would be 12 for Jenny.
She attempts to gum the Yeti, but it just smacks her on the nose to stop her from doing it.
She looks cross.
It is the Yeti's turn. Augustus, as the most obvious creature, can I please have a Constitution saving throw as the abominable Yeti turns its chilling gaze in your direction?
Bardol is utterly devastated to learn that the Yeti's gaze does not immediately fall upon him.
It's the camel rather than anything else.
Can I argue for advantage because I'm mounted upon a creature which terrifies my enemy?
Absolutely not.
No.
But I appreciate the effort, the hustle.
23.
Ooh, very nice. Okay, yep, so no damage is done. Having attempted to intimidate you with its gaze, it then pulls back its 2 paws and launches 2 claw attacks against you, Augustus. 16 for the first.
AC's 19.
16 for the second.
AC is still 19.
Shields holding, Captain.
The fear of the camel has obviously stopped it from attacking you to its full might, and you are able to block all of the attacks with no damage. Tock and Tick.
Because it's a tight corridor, they still can't quite get into melee range, so they're going to have another round of firing their airlocks. Tock is going to fire his. He gets a 25 to hit.
Hits.
8 damage.
Lovely.
And then, unfortunately, natural 1, he misses the second shot.
Oh, ouch.
Tick is also still reloading.
The rest of you hear the of the airlocks of Tock and Tick as they attempt to pepper the abominable Yeti. Bennie.
With his arrow ready knocked, Bennie turns the corner and looses another shot. That's 12.
Is a miss, I'm afraid.
Tough in this narrow space. Bennie curses to himself and ducks back around the corner to reload.
Vander.
General question about Yeti. Are they intelligent creatures or deeply unintelligent creatures?
They are monstrosities, so intelligence not necessarily high on the agenda of things that they would be known for. He certainly wasn't reading a book or conversing in Latin when he turned the corner, so...
Okay, well, Vander observed this. Not a learned fellow, eh?
You don't know. He might have been thinking deeply about philosophy in the dark.
I mean, I know.
Having opened a gap into the Yeti's mind, Vander re-intensifies his attack and changes to Elias' hideous laughter. I'm going to try and incapacitate it.
That's a natural 20.
He is a learned Yeti.
Thank God
Professor Yeti is not up for your games.
Oh, I'm not done.
He's got some Lapsang Souchon tea on the boil round the corner and a hefty tome to read.
I was not prepared for a hysterically laughing Yeti on the floor. Psychologically speaking, I was not ready for that visual.
As Vander doesn't have another action, but he levels his finger at the Yeti and shouts,
Death is just another path, one we must all take.
The Yeti doesn't speak common.
It only speaks Yeti.
I was going to say, I should have yelled that in Latin.
Yeah.
So again, from all the other characters' perspective, Vander's doing very little other than just point at this thing and sit at the back.
Depends how he casts Mind Spike. I like to imagine him like Professor X with his finger on the side of his head.
So again, from our perspective, it looks like he's just got a real bad headache and just hanging back.
Yeah.
Classic Vander.
I don't need your acclaim.
Bardol.
Seeing that the Yeti is injured and hopefully near death, Bardol's going to continue to attack its lower area, hoping that its legs and its lower abdomen are slow at this point and he can open it up and finish it off. Oh, 12.
Is a miss.
A 17.
Is a hit.
9 slashing damage. Long sword for 17 and 10 slashing damage. Bloody die, won't you, big carpet?
Because of its incredible size, even the 2 successful attacks, which cause more blood to pour out over the white fur, but it's still standing. Still standing. Doesn't look quite on its last legs just yet. Augustus.
It's just going to keep slashing away. Let's do it. 17.
Hits. Damage me up.
9 slashing damage.
Very nice.
Jesus, this guy just keeps going. 11.
Is a miss. Jenny, I think we're going to lose advantage at this point.
11 as well.
It's a miss. Fortunately, the gumming really has lost all impact at this point.
Yeah, we should have got Jenny some of those teeth in the pub, shouldn't we?
Abominable Yeti's turn, and it's going to turn its chilling gaze on the threat that's actually doing more damage to it now. Bardol Schultz. Bardol Schultz, can I have a Constitution saving throw, DC 18, please?
Oof. 9. That's not gone well. How comes every time I've got Constitution 6, I just roll so horrifyingly?
Please take 25 cold damage. And you have been paralysed for 1 minute.
Oh, the Yeti can really hit.
Attack rolls have advantage. It's now going to launch 2 claw attacks against the paralysed Bardol.
But Tick swoops in with using his reaction to protect his friend.
Oh, yes! Love
Disadvantage.
it! So that takes it to normal from advantage. First attack. 25?
Ah.
Yeah, that does it, yeah.
So that's 14 slashing damage, plus 7 cold damage.
It's a bit of trouble, isn't it?
Yep, okay.
And second claw attack, 27,
Yep.
for another 21 damage.
Bardol is down.
Jeez.
So the rest of you see as the eyes of the Yeti begin to kind of burn a bluish colour, and Bardol's form begins to shake as frosting appears. As frost appears, doesn't turn into a fucking cake. As frost appears on him, and he collapses to the floor, and then with 2 savage strikes, the Yeti tears into your friend, whose consciousness disappears before your eyes.
Not to take from the solemnity of the moment, but I think our ration problems have stopped.
That is the most Tock thing you've said already.
Tock and Tick.
Tick is going to reach forward and grab Bardol and drag him to safety. And then Tock is going to take his place and draw his sword and attack the Yeti. Unfortunately, rolling very low, just an 11.
Is a miss, I'm afraid.
And then with a second swing, a 17.
Is a hit.
Okay, that will be 12 slashing damage.
Having seen the horrors that happened to Bardol, Tick steps in, having attempted to block the initial attack, drags Bardol out of the way as Tock steps in, draws his sword, misses with the first attack, but then stabs it in the chest. It does not look long for this world. Bennie.
So Bennie once again swings around the corner with his bow drawn, and then kind of pauses when he sees Bardol at his feet. But he's kind of committed to the shot now, so begins by taking it. That's 10. Distracted by the Bardol at his feet, he quickly shoulders the bow and twists his ring to summon the mage hand. From a bonus action, I would like to feed Bardol a healing potion using my mage hand.
Nice.
Nice. That's 10 of 10.
Oh, max. Very nice, Bardol. You're back with 10 hit points.
Thank you very much. That means lots of Bardol coming from Bennie.
And as Bardol recovers consciousness, Bennie says, "Don't go get any ideas, Bardol. This is just practical."
Thank you, Bennie. Bless your heart.
Once again, duck back around the corner to reload.
Vander.
Vander continues the psychological battle and raises a second hand as he conjures his third spell. It's another mind spike, but I'm going for a different part of the Yeti's brain. I'm going to try and convince the Yeti's brain that his wounds are in fact fatal, and that knowledge will just encourage him to die.
Please roll a d20 and add 8.
Why won't you die?
That is a 22.
Is a hit. Please roll 2d10. 6 is what you need.
11!
Tell us the story.
The Yeti suddenly pauses and looks down at the damage already done to him. A look of despair crosses his face as he realises that he can't possibly live any more longer. That causes an instant and fatal heart attack. Lurching to one side, the Yeti drops to one knee, spasms for a second, and then falls backwards, dead. Top killer.
I mean, again, from everyone else's perspective, it just got stabbed a lot and died.
Yeah, and then looked at his own wounds really introspectively before they collapsing.
Truly a wise creature.
Bardol stands up furious that he didn't get to kill that Yeti, hobbles over to the corpse and just pokes it with day salt.
Jenny, who's best friends now with Bardol, spits on the creature, and the spit goes on for absolutely ages, like 30 plus seconds.
Oh god! Well, like multiple spits.
One looks like a sputtering fire hose.
Jesus.
Oh dear.
Just a gallon of camel spit rains down upon the Yeti, and then she smiles ingratiatingly at Bardol.
So after they've done that, Tock is going to take a look at the Yeti to see if there's any sort of bits of it he can use. Like, for instance, I'm assuming got a pretty thick coat. The eyes seem to shoot cold. So each of those things is going to be primarily looking at.
Yep, give me a nature check, please.
Bardol's going to stroke Jenny and second wind and drink a healing potion.
Tock's also going to guide himself. That'll be a 14.
So with Bardol taking a breath, stroking Jenny and drinking, Tock immediately gets to work kind of savaging the corpse of the abominable Yeti. Tock, abominable Yetis have 2 pointy, curved, dark blue horns that extend backwards to the sides of its forehead, just above its ears. The horns always seem to be cold, even after they're removed from the Yeti, which you do. having a look at these, you gather that some weaponsmiths could carve these horns into curved swords, while others would value them because they can be fashioned into small kegs that keep liquids cool.
Interesting.
A veritable treasure, Tock.
Indeed, Vander. They appear to have magical properties of gold.
Most intriguing. Multiple applications, I'm sure. Bardol, are you all right?
I'm feeling slightly better, Mustang. More angry than anything else, but it may be hard further going down, but no, I'm sure I'll be fine.
As ever, a heroic effort, if I may say.
I'll finish it off next time rather than fannying about, but anyway.
Of course.
Live and learn.
From the corridor ahead to the left around the corner as you are standing around, but you hear a voice calling down the corridor. I said there was an abominable yeti down here. Follow me. Those of you who are on the steam runner recognize the voice as the same one that was behind the locked door.
Oh no!
It's one of Dom's Russian accents.
It's the door that said go away.
Another fox in
My
there.
God. My dreams, they're coming true.
We
What's
have
the guy that said go away and you left? Is
Yeah,
it that
that's
guy?
it.
And we will end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Bennie Quez, Alex Morrison as Augustus Zeno, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, Scott Parker as the greatest swordsman who has ever lived, Bardol Schultz, Beth as Bella Clearvale, and Harry King as Tock, with Tom Patrick as your dungeon master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support. Marshall 001, Marky B, Darcy Thompson, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sakura, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Vander, Paris Pakar, Path Pursuit, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Mama Strange, Queenie, Liz Beckett, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
Excellent. So the only question now is how to approach the task.
Sounds like Vander's point's been taken, but mine hasn't.
Oh, sorry, what's your point?
It's frightening. Where's Bardol's coat from?
Stole it off of the Indiana Jones knockoff.
Oh, yeah, it's not from an Italian football shop, sorry.
No, sorry, no, I don't know its origin, unfortunately.
I also just unmuted my mic in order to raise my eyebrows.
Serious power play, Al.
What is wrong with me?
Is it because they go doing?
Exactly. Acute listeners with acute hearing will have heard an eyebrow raise.
A person does not belong to a place until there is someone dead under the ground. So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company.
That was fucking ominous.
Wow. That took the air out of the
Well,
room.
prepare to belong to the Citadel, friends.
Yeah. Say, I need to do some foreshadowing. Oh, where's my brush? I'll use a hammer.
Shall we off? Well, fuck me!
Is anybody there?
Yes.
I would find that to be acceptable.
I mean, I've got 9 rations in my inventory. I've just realised that would have been.
Well, I've got 21,
That
so
would have been
Slugfest seems like a waste of time, doesn't it?
Devastated ourselves
Cool.
for no reason there.
And these are fresh 5 days rations that you have just purchased, because we're working on the basis that you guys have definitely been eating your fucking rations.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Why did you go hunt slugs?
Hope so.
This is probably why in Lord of the Rings, when they finally get to the fight in Moria, they also happen to reach the massive vaulted room. It's the only place the big fight can really happen.
Yeah, where does the Balrog go? Like, I mean, how many big rooms can it fit in down there? Presumably
It's stuck in that massive room for thousands of years.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have done a fact that Benny can't swim. Did I remember that?
You did.
Yeah, I thought I might.
I think I might have done a fact that Augustus is morbidly afraid of water as well.
That rings a bell too, yeah.
God, I mean, what kind of maniacal genius would have put a very small pool of water in your way? For me, that sounds super exciting and like the kind of thing that I would love to explore. But, you know, I'm an adventurer.
That's probably the most terrifying type of water you could go into, though.
Oh, yeah.
Claustrophobic too.
I meant the frosting, but, you know, whatever you guys meat eaters want to...
Seen you boil people.
Render. Okay, so...
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our Linktree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.